And I'm joined now by the broadcaster Piers Morgan, who has interviewed Donald Trump on many occasions and knows him well. And good evening, Piers. Thanks for being with us. And I just wonder, first of all, what you made of the speech. It was an emboldened Trump, almost swaggering Trump, and his supporters will have loved it.
Well, first of all, Mark, congratulations on not getting hypothermia. I've been watching you since this morning, and it's been a sterling effort over there as the cold has begun to engulf your entire torso. So well done. As a fellow broadcaster, I appreciate what you're suffering.
You stay in your studio. You stay in your studio.
As for Trump's speech, I thought it was unusually focused, unusually disciplined. It wasn't like one of his rally addresses where he tends to go off riff and come up with all sorts of outlandish stuff that's not in the script. So he's very disciplined this time round, Trump. I think it's exactly the speech that the people that voted for him wanted to hear. It tackles the three big issues of that election, which won him the election: illegal immigration, where there's been an indisputable crisis on the southern border for many years now, which he has resolved to try and sort out. Secondly, the cost of living crisis has been so ruinous to so many Americans, many living, paycheck to paycheck now and really struggling. He wants to address that. But thirdly, this whole issue of wokeism, of DEI, of this kind of cultural, progressive, far-left agenda that he believes, and I share a lot of his belief in this, has been so destructive to society, not just in America, but around the world. And he's done a kind of screeching U-turn to this. What makes it interesting is that he's done it at a time when many people who were leading all this, leading what Elon Musk calls the woke mind virus, people like Mark Zuckerberg at Meta, have now also done screeching U-turns and now basically held their hands up and agreed that all of this has gone way too far. So I think that there are three prongs to this administration: immigration, the economy, but also the end of wokeism as we know it. And I don't think we should be sending any flowers to the funeral.
Right, and I want to talk about the media here in a moment because it's interesting what's changing. But I just wonder, first of all, do you think that it was right for him to be so critical of his predecessor, Joe Biden? I mean, it was brutal stuff in the inauguration speech.
Well, look, Joe Biden spent the last 4 years, along with all the Democrats, calling him a fascist, saying he's an imminent threat to democracy itself, he's the new Hitler, and so on and so on. I kept warning my liberal friends that if you keep over-egging the dictator souffle in terms of your rhetoric, it will come back and haunt you. Just as I tried to warn them that if you try and take Trump into a criminal court, the first time it's ever happened to any American president, over an alleged fling with a porn star 20 years ago, that's going to come back and haunt you too. And then you had the attempts on his life. You put all that together, everything that people tried to do to suppress or even kill Donald Trump in that last year, politically or in reality, actually fueled him and empowered him and drove him to his victory. Joe Biden led the charge in that kind of rhetoric against Donald Trump, and I think it was completely understandable and entirely predictable that given the chance to return the favour, Donald Trump did that. Now, was it edifying? Not particularly. Was he wrong about the picture he painted of the America that Joe Biden has presided over in the last 4 years? Well, not entirely.
And look, this whole question of the media, it's changing. Last time it was a largely critical media here who felt it was their job to hold what they thought was a maverick president to account. Now the media seems to be giving him a real chance. I mean, things are changing at the Washington Post under Jeff Bezos. He's got Fox, of course. He's now got X, Elon Musk X. He has Instagram. Zuckerberg was there today. And he has some of the top podcasters singing his tune. It's an interesting change, isn't it?
Well, it's the way it should have been the first time round. I always felt, if you know Trump, I've known Trump a long time, 20 years now. If you read his book, The Art of the Deal, then you'll see in there his whole template for life is if somebody whacks you, you whack them, metaphorically, you whack them 10 times harder. So the moment he took office last time, there was just this relentless, sustained attack by a very partisan, very liberal skewed media in America, mainstream media, determined, it seemed to me, to act almost like an extension to the Democrat opposition. and to take him down. That's not the job of journalists. The job of journalists is to be fair-minded, non-partisan, to study facts as you see them, interpret them in a fair-minded manner. None of that was going on with Trump. It's not to say he didn't deserve a lot of criticism. He did. But to give you an example, I wrote 100 columns for...
hold on a second. Piers, Piers, no, just hold on a second. I mean, 2017, early 2018, it was chaos. People were getting sacked, people were quitting. He lost his Secretary of State, his top economic advisor, his chief communications officer. I remember in the space of 2 weeks in March 2018. It was chaos.
Yeah, but you might also remember there were 2 years of screams of Russia collusion, fueled and driven by mainstream media, acting, like I say, I'm afraid I have to say this, in a non-partisan or in a partisan manner, and not the non-partisan manner that their job requirement dictates they do. And the Russia collusion narrative that ran for 2 years and was relentless turned out to be completely untrue. So there was a lot of stuff which, if you're Trump, the first time round, you're thinking they're all out to get me. The mood is very different this time, and the media have picked up on the mood of the public in America. I was very struck when I went to the Madison Square Garden rally he did before the election itself, that there were no protests. And I was there for a few hours, first rally I've ever been to. And I said to the Secret Service, how many turned up to protest? 150 people. That's in the heart of Manhattan 2 weeks before the election. I knew then that the resistance, as they put it, to Trump had completely crumbled. He'd won it before they even got to the ballot box. And I think the media have picked up on a changing mood in America, that they're just not going to accept American people, a media that appears to be, and I think with some merit this argument, appear to be very partisan against one of the parties, in that case, Trump and the Republicans. And everyone will benefit, I think, from being a little bit more fair-minded and a little less hysterical about him.
All right, Piers, thank you very much indeed. You know him well, but clearly not well enough to get invited to the inauguration.
Actually, you know what? I looked at the weather forecast, and unlike you, I took the life-preserving decision to stay in my warm studio. You, when you finally keel over from hypothermia, will wish you'd done the same thing.
Yeah, I think I will. Piers, thank you very much indeed.